Hello, we're going to kick off the series on Mighty Armies with a little overview of the rulebook. The rulebook is available from rebelminis.com. You can get a PDF download for $6.95, or you can order the hard copy from them. I think it's $11.95. I'd have to double check that. I got the PDF because I couldn't wait. Like I say, it's a full. I read it in kind of an hour. If you watch my introduction video, I've been having more of a look over it today. I don't think I'm really going to get to grips until I start playing the demo games, but I want to use this video just to kind of talk about the book as a whole. It's 43 pages long. Fantastic, because I struggle to retain everything. I mean, some of these big books back here, I just can't take it in. So having a bit of a short rule set is kind of useful. I got my PDF and I've got, oh, there we go. Yeah, there's the nice, lovely cover with the nice artwork. And obviously, with it being a PDF, I can read it on anything. Now, first thing you're going to notice about Mighty Armies, the book, is it's short, it's to the point, and it's clear. I believe that Mighty Armies was an old game around quite a while ago. I didn't get to know it, but and it was sold with a rule set, and you could buy these set armies that went with it in packs. Now, Rebel Minis, it seems that they've kind of kept that thing, but they've updated the rules. They say that, you know, players of the original game will recognise it, will find it easy to pick up. There's just a few rule changes apparently. Doesn't matter to me, because this is the first time I'm ever going to play it. I've never played a game in my life. Okay, so first impressions of the book. It start with basing. Okay, so Mighty Armies is a fantasy 15mm game. Said it before. You can play on a 2-foot by 2-foot board. Fantastic for space. And it works with units. Now, from what I can tell, you base up your infantry 3 or 4 models to a unit, but they're all on 50mm by 25mm bases, so it's a 50mm frontage to the unit, which is a bit different, I believe, than some other games. They're 40 by 20 seems to be the standard, but apparently it might hark back to the Games Workshop bases. They're the same as the cavalry bases, so maybe they just kept that. Those were the ones that were around and easily accessible for people, and they want to, you know, I don't know. Anyway, it's 20 units are based on a 50 by 25 base. Put as many models on it as you want. I'm planning on putting maybe 3, maybe 4, because everything is done unit to unit. There's no, from what I can tell, little individual model type play as such. I could be wrong. Put it in the comments. People who played this game, put it in the comments. Help me out. Anyway, you can use any model, as said in that rulebook. It says in the rulebook you can use any models you want. They don't, and you base them. It's recommended on 50 by 25, but it also says that if you don't have 50 by 25, as long as both sides have the same size bases, you'll have no problem whatsoever. And I have read on one of the message boards somebody saying that actually you can make it work with different side bases on each side. It really is down to just common sense and getting through the game. What the Mighty Armies rulebook does give, core rulebook does give you, is a good basis for your games. The book starts with a bit of a fantasy scenario that Mighty Armies is set on a cosmic planet called Zatriel, excuse my pronunciation, where basically it's all war. And there's so many different races and factions, whatever, having a war. But the background stuff does give you sort of history and stuff. It's a few pages long. It's quite interesting if you want to immerse yourself in that. Otherwise, just create your own idea of why you would be having this battle. Now, the book also states that you can build any sort of army, really. If you want penguins, penguin cavalry, you know, you can do it. If you can find the model, you can do it, because what it does is it gives you a generic set of stats for things like light infantry, heavy infantry, monsters, cavalry, things like that. You can apply them to whatever army you want to build. So it's got generic army stats, and you build your army to a value, a standard game of 40 army points. So in the stats it tells you how many army points they are. What's cool about Mighty Armies is there's a load of special rules that you can buy with your army points when you're building your list and apply them to each unit. Cool, so you can make up any combination. When I started looking at it, it all felt a bit daunting, having come from a gaming background where you're told what each unit can do, and the rules are there very clear and whatever. So I was glad to find that Rebel Minis actually have free PDF downloads of some example army lists. Where they detail the units for, say, orcs or goblins, or there's even a book for pirates. But I'll get onto that in a minute. That's a supplement. Very, very tempting to do pirates. And Captain Jack Sparrow. Anyway, beside the point. The Rebel Minis have created these army lists. There is a free PDF that covers most of the races anyway. Like I said, there are a couple of supplements for Dark Elves and Pirates. There might be Wild West or something else, I don't know, that go into more detail. So if you're wanting more detail, and Rebel Minis are making more of these as well. And they're taking suggestions on the miniatures page message board. So if you've got a cool idea that you want to have a book done about, get on there. They've been asking people. Now, reading through the rules, there's some rules that stick out to me, why I like it. Movement feels like the normal fantasy, you move your units. However, you can group the units into a maximum of 6. And then they can move as a whole group, which I quite like. I'm sure it's in other games, maybe, but I like that. You can break off of them, but you have to spend points to do so. Now, which I'll get onto in a minute. I'm jumping ahead of myself. The game system has an initiative roll, so you roll to deploy, you deploy within 6 inches, blah blah. I won't go into the rules because you can go and buy the rules. There's even if you really want to just check it out without buying the core rules, paying any money, there's a free download of the reference sheet, which gives you the turn phases and quite a bit of information anyways. So that might be a good place to start. To decide the turn, it isn't a you go, I go, that kind of scenario. Every turn, like taking turns in that same way. You roll a d6 each, and there's an initiative roll, and whoever rolls the highest gets to go. And that's the way it proceeds. You then have to roll for movement points when you move. So you've got the standard phases. You've got standard phases: moving, shooting, magic, combat. Yeah. And in order to do anything, to move, and to do magic, you have to spend magic points. You get your magic points by rolling a dice at the beginning of your turn. Simples. But what that says to me is it gives you this element, a real strategy element of how I'm going to spend those movement points. And magic sounds extremely intriguing because there's a list of spells, and you can, if you've got a spellcaster, use any of those spells and use them as many times as you want in a turn, as long as you've got the movement points to pay for it, and the 1 movement point. So so that's pretty simple. There's more details about magic and everything. I'm just having a look at my notes here. Shooting is quite difficult, it seems. So this is weighted because you need to have direct line of sight of the unit. If there is any obstruction whatsoever, you don't have line of sight. You can't shoot. So it's not like in some games where they have cover. If there's a small piece of terrain and you can still see half the unit, you can't shoot them. There is something in the way. That's my interpretation of the rule anyway. Combat uses fighting scores that you modify. So you both roll and you add your fighting score to modification. So you pluses, +1s for charging. Minuses for going through terrain, charging through terrain. It's all very, very quick. I mean, this is me having read it kind of once, trying to go over. I've got a few notes here I keep looking at, trying to just get to grips with it. And I think I will only really get to grips with it once I start playing through some turn sequences. But before that, I can't play if I haven't got my models. Now, I could do. I've got plenty of models here, and I could play through this game, but I'm not going to do that, because I'm going to do it in a particular order, because I'm a bit controlling like that about myself. So what I'm going to do is, as I've said before, I'm going to build some terrain, and then I'm going to play through a demo game, and you will see probably the first game that I actually play. Anyway, the rules, very simple. There's 2 victory outcomes. Very simple victory outcomes. Blast your opponent off the board, or basically beat him in points. A little bit more detailed than that, but I'm not going to go into it. Overall, it's a very, very simple set of rules, but it could be as complex as you like. Okay, so if I'm intrigued, I might have waffled on a little bit here, and I might not have been as clear as could be, I don't really want to get into explaining the rules. Those big things for me are that the movement seems similar, the way the units move, a little similar to other fantasy games, but you've got an initiative roll, which means you could be taking 2-3 turns in a row. Bit like bolt action maybe with the orders. These are the game systems that you don't necessarily, you have a turn, I have a turn, which makes it more interesting. But then you've got this thing of movement points, so you might not be able to do everything you want to do in that turn. So you've got to really think about what you're going to do with your units. But I'm not a strategist, I'm not the best tactician, I just want this for fun. But those kind of mechanics appeal to me. They take away this element of, I've come prepared with a list that will beat your list type scenario. It leaves a little bit more to strategy, I think, and that's, or dynamic strategy, so thinking on your feet. And you'll get it wrong as well. Things will go wrong. We've all made those wrong, So you've got to kind of put that. It feels like one of those game systems where the competitive element you kind of put to one side, and it's just a chance to get some miniatures out and see what actually happens following this rule set. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, on the painting front, I've actually started doing some painting. I've done a painting guide for a dwarf miniature. So hopefully I'll be able to put a link somewhere here, and you'll be able to click on that. Hopefully it'll be done anyway. If it's not, if the link's not there, the video's not been rendered. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. If you like it, press like. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to share it with your friends.